Have you ever just stopped and wondered about our ultimate origin story? No, I'm not talking about humanity. I'm talking about something way, way bigger. The story of our Earth, our sun, and every single planet in our cosmic neighborhood. Well, today we're going to take a trip, a 4.6 billion year journey to see how it all began.
I mean, it's a huge question, right? It just seems impossibly complex. But believe it or not, the universe kind of follows a cosmic recipe, a series of incredible events that turned, well, almost nothing into the home we know and love today. So, to see how it all went down, we have to rewind the clock. And I mean way back. We are talking 4.6 billion years into the past, to a time before the Earth or any of the planets even existed. Okay, picture this, a huge, cold, dark cloud just floating in space. It's made of these tiny little particles of dust and gas, basically the raw ingredients for everything that's about to happen. At this point, it's a really peaceful, really quiet scene. See, a calm cloud like that doesn't just decide to turn into a solar system on its own. No, it needed a push, something big, something violent, something powerful enough to kickstart the whole process of creation.
And that push? It came from one of the most spectacular events in the entire universe, the explosion of a nearby star, a supernova. What's so incredible is that this explosion didn't just get things started, it also forged heavy elements, like the iron and calcium that are in our bones and our blood today. So yeah, our story literally begins with the death of a star.
That explosion set off a cosmic chain reaction. First, the supernova sent these unbelievably powerful shockwaves ripping through space. And when those waves slammed into our quiet little cloud, they squeezed it hard. That compression was the trigger for gravity to finally take over, pulling all that dust and gas inward and setting the entire cloud into a spin. And as it spun faster and faster, the cloud couldn't stay a big puffy ball. You know, just like spinning pizza dough flattens out in the air, our cloud collapsed into this massive, rotating disk. And this amazing structure has a name, a solar nebula. This right here is the official birthplace of our sun, our planets, and everything else in our solar system. It's the cosmic nursery where it all came to life. Okay, so we've got our spinning nebula all set up. Now we are ready for the main event, the birth of our very own sun. Because of gravity, the vast majority of all that gas and dust didn't stay spread out. It got pulled relentlessly toward the very center of that spinning disk, piling up, getting hotter, and becoming incredibly dense. And as more and more material gathered right there at the core, the temperature and pressure just skyrocketed. The heart of the nebula became this unbelievably hot, dense ball of hydrogen gas. The pressure grew so intense that it started forcing hydrogen atoms to literally fuse together, creating helium and a process we call nuclear fusion. And that fusion process, it unleashed an unimaginable, mind-boggling amount of energy. And in a brilliant flash, our sun ignited, shining for the very first time. A brand new, powerful star had just been born. So, the sun is now shining at the center of it all. But what about all that leftover material that's still swirling around in the disk? Well, that's where the rest of the family comes from. The rest of that disk was basically a cosmic construction zone. Tiny little particles started sticking to each other, kind of like dust bunnies under your bed. Over time, these clumps got bigger and bigger, pulling in more material until eventually they grew into the planets and moons we recognize today. But, not all planets were created equal. Where they were in the nebula totally determined their fate. Near the hot new sun, only rock and metal could handle the heat, and that's how we got the rocky inner planets. But way out in the cooler regions, ice could form, which allowed massive planets to scoop up huge amounts of gas and become the gas and ice giants, like Jupiter and Saturn. That temperature difference is the reason our solar system is basically split in two. So that 4.6 billion year process left us with a solar system that has some truly strange, kind of mind-bending characteristics. Let's just start with this number, 99%. What on earth could that possibly represent? That is the sun's share of all the mass in our entire solar system, 99%. That means everything else, every planet, every moon, every asteroid, and every comet, all of it combined makes up just 1% of the total. We are truly just cosmic crumbs circling a giant.
Just let that sink in for a second. Because the sun is so massive and its influence is so vast, you could make a very real argument that our entire solar system, including us right here on Earth, exists within its outer atmosphere. We are literally living inside the star that created us.
And for one last fascinating piece of our system's legacy, chew on this question for a second. Have we ever found rocks from another planet, specifically from Mars, just lying around here on Earth?
The answer is a definite yes. We have found meteorites that have been chemically identified as Martian. And here's the incredible part. They got here all on their own. They were probably blasted off the surface of Mars by a giant asteroid impact millions of years ago and just happened to find their way to us. And that leaves us with one final, pretty profound thought. If entire rocks can travel between worlds completely on their own, it really makes you wonder, what else could be making that journey? Could the fundamental building blocks of life itself travel the same way, seeding worlds all across the cosmos? It's a question that reminds us that even after 4.6 billion years, our solar system is still full of incredible mysteries.